10 secret signs that you're already a composer. Do you think you have what it takes? He said, I've just realised, with a gramophone horn sticking out the top of my head. Okay, must change that in future. Okay, I'm reading from my computer here. So, first of all, 10 things then. 10 secret signs you're already, even if you don't know, or that you are a pro composer. 1. You sit down to write music even when you don't feel inspired. You're tired and you're short on time. I think this is something that really differentiates amateurs from professionals, is that a pro will sit down at the allotted time and they will write whatever. And it doesn't mean that it works, it doesn't mean that it's easy, but you train yourself into a habit. It's like training a muscle. You know, this is composing time, this is what I'm going to do, and okay, it might not be working at the moment, but I will do this. Okay, I will try this, I will do this. And not getting into a panic if it doesn't work, working out ways of using that time constructively. Doing that when you don't feel inspired. Writing music when you're tired, when you've had to deal with the day, and you know it's 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening and you finally sit down and all you really want to do is to go and watch TV or go to bed. A true pro will actually sit down at their computer and they will start writing. So being able to write not when you're feeling inspired, being able to write not when you're on top of the world, being able to write when the hubbub of the world is pressing in against you, and finding that space of peace and tranquility and that flow state, so important, I think, and you may already be doing that. Number 2, you can write music to fit briefs and scenarios rather than just writing what you like. I always think it's actually writing music is relatively easy. I find writing music quite easy. Writing the right music at the right time is like a totally different ballgame. It's really hard. So writing music to fit a brief, writing music that fits a scene, writing music for a particular purpose with a particular mood or vibe, being able to really nail that and do that on demand is an absolute skill that I can sort of do, but I'm getting better at it. But as opposed to just sort of sitting in and writing whatever comes out and whatever you fancy or whatever you sort of feel, writing to somebody else's idea, using a reference track or a brief and being able to pull that off really does separate the pros from the amateurs, I think. Number 3. If you're a pro, you can be objective about your music and separate your emotion and self-value from it. I don't know whether my story is that I came to composing again after a 25-year break or so. I started doing this in my, well, I've always composed, but I tried to seriously do composition in my early 20s, and due to a crippling lack of self-worth and self-value, and just not, and you know, thinking that any rejection I got for my composing was a rejection of me personally, I didn't follow it through, and I did something completely different for most of my life until coming back to this in my mid-50s. Yeah, separating you, the person, from your composing is really hard, because to a certain extent you are your music, but also you have to have that objectivity about it. You have to be able to look at it critically, and you have to be able to evaluate it technically. Does it work as a piece of music? And separate your own emotional excitement from it, or your own emotional sort of investment in it, and look at it objectively. But also, what I just said a moment ago, not tying your own self-worth to what you are creating. You are so much more than just a composer, and separating that out, I think, is a really tricky, knotty one that I really probably ought to do a video on, because I've struggled with that for years. Okay, number 4, you don't chase after the latest gear or sample libraries as a professional, because you are confident in your ability to learn and get the best out of the already high quality libraries you already have. Spitfire Audio, man, your marketing is good. You know, I get your emails, it sucks you in. I will improve as a composer if I buy this library. This is what has been missing from my arsenal, that word. you need to get this plugin, you need to do this, that, and the other. You have to have the sample thing. Unleash your creativity by spending 400 quid on a new sample library. To a certain extent, yes, but I can guarantee there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of composers who have hundreds of sample libraries that they only scratch the surface of, and they don't know how to use in depth, and they don't know how to get the best out of them. And a lot of the time, your composing will be improved and will increase in its quality through your knowledge of your sample library, so that you already have, assuming that they are really good quality, and through your knowledge of composition, rather than buying a shiny new sound to play with. You have been told. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5. As a pro, you have an inner belief and conviction that this is a true path for your life, a really strong why. You must be motivated by much more than simply making a living and making money, and be really committed to the lifestyle. Now, let's get this clear. I don't think that you should be a starving artist, and I don't think that's necessary, and I don't think that is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are thousands of ways of earning money that are quicker, easier, more effective, and will earn a lot more money for you in a lot less time than being a composer, generally speaking, unless you are some superstar. You have to be committed to why you are doing this, and I think to a certain extent it has to be, well, I can't sort of do anything else. This is what I have to do to fulfill myself, to fulfill my inner, this is my inner destiny. This is what I should be doing. You have to have that belief and that conviction, and view it as a lifestyle choice. I think I do. I earn enough money to live on quite comfortably, but I do. I value my freedom of time, my absolute gift of gratitude that I have, that I can sit down for pretty much 8 hours a day and just write music and earn money for it. That's the lifestyle, and I can take a week off if I want to, and the royalties still coming in. That to me is far, far, far more valuable than earning £500,000 a year. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a quality of life, and I think that's where you have to look at it. You have to look at it as a lifestyle choice, and you have to have a really strong why you want to be doing this. Next one, I've lost count. You can support yourself emotionally and financially through the hard times, and there will be really, really hard times. As a pro, you have got to have that emotional thick skin, the emotional maturity, I think, the ability to just separate yourself from it. So I was saying earlier on, really, in some ways, through the hard times, when you're not getting stuff played, when nobody's interested in music, you're getting rejection after rejection after rejection, which is a totally normal thing. But you've got to be mentally tough to keep writing through those periods, and to have that why and that conviction really strong in your mind that you're going to keep going. You also need some sort of financial backup as well if you're doing most types of composing. If you are trying to be a freelance composer, or you do music for production libraries like I do, it takes a long time for that snowball to develop. It takes a long time for the music to start paying, for royalties to come in, for clients to keep coming back to you. You need backup. I was immensely lucky in that I had financial reserves from a previous work and an extremely supportive partner. You need some sort of backup for the hard times financially. A pro will have had mentorship from people that you trust, and have had validation that your music has reached a professional level. As a professional composer, nobody is questioning whether your music is good enough or not. That is a given. The assumption is that your music is great. There's no question about that. What people will be looking for is how easy you're to work with, how efficient you are, how good a communicator you are, do they like you, are you a nice person, are you a team player, all of those soft skills. But the actual level of your composing, it's a given that you can write great music, and you need to be, as a pro, you need to have had some validation of that. Now, you can give it to Auntie Mabel and see what she says, but she'll go, "Lovely, dear, it's really nice." Or your family, my parents, "Oh, it's beautiful." Well, no, you need somebody with some industry nous. You need a mentor. I don't think it's a good idea to be putting stuff on Facebook posts, because you get all sorts of people replying with all sorts of agendas. I think you need one or two really trusted people to really validate, to say, yes, this is professional music, or no, you need to work on this, and this. And you need to be objective and you need to be rigorous about that, so that the professional composer, your professional ability to write music is not questioned. Next one, you are willing to endure years of building up your income to a sustainable level. That's self-explanatory. Number 9, you're constantly thirsting for knowledge into ways to improve your craft. So not buying new sample libraries, but working out ways that you can become a better composer, that you can increase your skills. So being specific about it. There's a lot of people, I think, that randomly watch YouTube videos or randomly watch through courses, but don't specifically put into action what they are learning. So putting into action the things that you're learning, finding and thinking of specific points in your writing and your skill set that need improvement, and pinpointing those and seeking out the knowledge on those, so that your actual craftsmanship improves, your composing ability improves, your ability to just craft melodies and harmonies, and learning from other composers. Absolutely vital. And that needs to be, I think, as a pro composer, it's something that's inbuilt. It's something that you have a thirst to do. You have a real sort of need to be constantly learning and growing. And number 10, you're able as a pro composer to take notes and feedback and respond in a constructive and positive way. So you're going to get feedback on your music from whoever you send it to, be it a film director, be it a music library. How you respond, it doesn't matter in a way what the feedback is, as long as it's not my words, this is terrible, go away and learn to compose for the next 3 years. It doesn't matter what the feedback is. What really matters is how you respond to that. And what really separates the pros from the not pros, I think, is being able to respond in a positive way, whatever that feedback is. Even if you don't necessarily agree with it, you don't have to agree with it. You're writing for a client, and if their view is that this needs doing, then okay, you do this. And I think getting away from the starving artist mindset, for want of a better expression, the ego, losing the ego, I think it's tempting to think that as a professional, you've got to have a big ego, you've got to have confidence, you've got to have, the sense that what you're doing is me, this is my creativity, my art. But I think actually a real true pro is somebody who has that inner confidence and that really strong why and that emotional strength and toughness, but he's able to not have any ego and say, I think actually, well, for most of us, we're creating music for a purpose, and the person who's commissioned this and the person who's paying me is saying this, and this. So actually, I'm gonna sort of toe the line and do that. And as long as it's not something that's sort of against your moral compass, then I think that is the mark of a true professional, to be able to swallow your ego and to actually provide and help out and work with your clients in a totally sort of non-egotistical sort of way, and be on a creative level with them. Communication, that's something that a real pro is great at, communicating, chatting, getting alongside, being a team player, going the extra mile, responding when they say they will do, finishing music when they say they will do, or a little bit earlier, over-promising, under-promising, over-delivering. All of that is what really, really makes a true professional composer. Are you a pro yet? It'd be great to hear from you. Do type down below, and I hope you got something out of that video, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks then. Bye-bye.